some kind of how many hits we are doing and all. So based on that, and it will auto scale also. If there are more records are coming, so that is not able. So it will auto scale and scale up and scale down. Also, it will happen. So this is the one of the service of the AWS.
Right. So let me give you example of it. There was one service before Lambda I want to talk about, which was EC2, and nowadays we are working most on the Lambda. So what is the difference between these two technology? This is if you used one EC2 instance for 1 month, you're going to pay entire month of bill. If you want it to use for 1 day, even that you are going to use for 1 day and you are not stopping that instance, you have to pay for entire 1 month bill. But Lambda comes with a feature where the AWS is saying, let me deploy changes using image containerization technology, and we will ask you to pay the bill on which moment of use you are using. Let's say today you are using your Lambda function for just 2 minutes. They will going to charge you money on the 2 minutes basis only. It is not like EC2. It is a very beautiful service, which is, we call it serverless. You don't have to deal with servers in the case of Lambda functions. And they give a very beautiful flexibility in the Lambda that you can write your Lambda function using Python, using Node.js, using C#, using Swift. Multiple languages support are there. Lambda is just equivalent to going to one of the URL and start creating a machines for you. If you want to install your Java code, if you want to run your Python code, it is quite easy to go to just one of the URL and then create a function. That's it. All functionalities are available here. But when you work with EC2 instances, you have to take, first you have to install your operating system, then you have to take work on installing these Java SDK and other things you have to do, right? But this is the beauty of Lambda function. So we will be working with Lambda function with SQS and Lambda function with Kinesis. Let me give you one more example here. Let's say this is my application. This is my application. And this is my database. This is my database. And people who are joining this session for the first time, let me tell you what we are going to cover in the entire course. I have the PPT with me. This is for entire 2 months of plan that I will be discussing at the last. But let's understand one topic in AWS. That topic is Kinesis versus SQS. Let's understand, then I'll go through this list also. So go to this and just imagine this is your real-time scenario, and you as an application owner, you are interacting with database. This is your database, not data. You can say it is my database. So what happens if my database is going down? What happens if my database is going down? What will happen? My application will also be down. But I want to create a solution which is like I'm adding a SQS here between the solution, so that my application is not talking to database directly. My application will talk to SQS and SQS will talk to database. The beauty of this design is you are removing one dependency from database, and that dependency now have with SQS. We call it simple queue service. Simple queue service. So in the place of SQS, you can also use SNS. There's another technology you can use SNS. Both technologies are part of AWS. Also, you can use another technology which we call it Kinesis. Kinesis. So if a solution, being a solution architect or being a developer, senior developer, if somebody is going to ask you questions, I'm giving 3 solutions for one problem. One is SQS, one is SNS. Let me write the name of it. This is SQS and this is SNS. This is SNS. And this is below one is Kinesis. I have 3 solutions. Now, if somebody is asking you on which basis you will choose a solution, you will say this is SQS and this is used for pull-based technologies, where you want to write a consumers and consumer will be retrieving the data on the pull-based mechanism. When I say pull-based mechanism, let's take the example of Google Store. You go to Google Store and take the updates of your softwares like WhatsApp or any banking application or any dating application. You go to Play Store and ask for updates. This means pull-based technology. On the other side, SNS is the push-based. When I say push-based, like sometimes your operating system has some updates. In that case, they send a notification to you, hey, please install a latest version of it. This is called push-based. Then we have Kinesis. Kinesis is very, very useful feature where you are looking for real-time streaming data. When I say real-time streaming data, I'm talking about like share market data or stock market data, real-time streaming, where you are continuously sending million of requests in a second or million of requests in a 2 seconds. In that case, Kinesis is a very, very great feature. So now if somebody is asked you, I want to go for pull-based solution, which is SQS and which is Kinesis, which one is good? Then you can say Kinesis only can support 250 KB 6 of data, 256 KB of data in one message. But in the Kinesis, we have 1 MB of data option available. In that case, you can go for Kinesis. Before discussing more on that, let me just start a practical, then you will understand more on this. First, let me create a SQS, go to my AWS account, and let's create a SQS. How to create an SQS? Go to Amazon console UI. And let me log out from this account. Let me add another account, go back in. Go with this account. Now, this is a dashboard of AWS. I'm going to write a queue, that is, we call it simple queue service. I'm going to create a queue. Click on it. And here you will see a list of queues already available. 3 queues are already available. But let me create a new queue. When I say create a new queue, it will ask you which type of queue you want to create. Now, here we have 2 options. One is standard queue, second is FIFO queue. When I say standard queue, it is best for the one delivery. At least once delivery, this is best. But message ordering is not preserved. When I say message ordering is not preserved, the way your queue is receiving the data, it is not a guarantee by AWS that they will send your data back in the same format, in the same order. Let's say I'm sending 5 million of records to this queue. In that case, AWS doesn't give you guarantee that it will be processed in the same manner, the way it is receiving the data. If you have some scenarios in your application where you are looking for same kind of thing, where you are not bothering about the ordering, in that case, you can use standard. But some scenarios like where you are saying, I have 100 subscriptions only, or I have 1000 subscriptions only, or you can take the example of ticketing system for the cricket match or football match, only I have 200,000 of tickets available with me. And that tickets I want to sell, but it is very, very important that whosoever is coming first, I need to deliver the ticket to them. In that case, you need to make sure you, while creating a queue, you are creating the FIFO queue. FIFO is first in, first out delivery queue. I hope it is a better example to explain. You understood this thing, and go to standard one as of now. And I'm giving it a name as a, you can say this is Joy Q. Joy Q. And these four properties are very, very important properties. When I say visibility timeout, what do you mean by visibility timeout? Let's go to understand again. Let's imagine this is your database and there are multiple consumers like this, multiple databases like this, or multiple Lambda or multiple EC2. Your consumers can be anything. When you work with microservices architecture, your consumers will be n numbers of consumers. Let's suppose you have n number of consumers. In that case, this application, you will call it, this is my producer who is producing the data to queue. Producer. And these are your, in the left hand section, in the right hand section, just give me a moment. This is my producer. And these are my consumers. When I say visibility timeout of queue, this is very, very important. What does it mean by, when I say 30 seconds, I'm saying, hey AWS, whatever item you are giving to SQS will need to make sure if that item is being given to any consumer, then we need to wait for another 30 seconds to give the same item to another consumer. That will make sure you are not processing your duplicate records. If it doesn't get record confirmation from your consumer that you have done the processing for that particular record, after 30 seconds, it will start visible again, and any consumer coming, that again, that record can again be processed. But that figure you can set between 0 seconds to 12 hours. So let's say I want to work with default. Message retention period, I want to stay with 4 days. That is okay for me. Delivery delay. Delivery delay is also very important. When you say any item is coming to queue, should create a delay of 10 seconds before sending any data to consumer. In that case, you can introduce a delay of 0 seconds to 15 minutes. Maximum size, it can be 256 KB. And you can define your maximum size also. Message receive wait time. This is very, very important. There is a concept of short polling and long polling. When I say short polling, I'm talking about 0 seconds. When I talk about long polling, I'm talking any figure which is greater than 0. That comes under the category of long polling. And that long polling can be 0 to 20 seconds. What does it mean? It means that any client is coming to read the data, that client will have to wait for how many seconds to retrieve a data. Let's say I'm saying 5. In that case, any consumer is coming to read a data from SQL will say, hey, wait for 5 seconds. Let me also retrieve more results. Let me also retrieve more requests, because client application is directly pushing the data to SQS. Let's wait for 5 seconds. If you say 10 seconds, it will wait for 10 seconds. But in my case, I'm saying let's wait for 0 second. And come to this. Encryption, I'm saying enabled as of now, or you can just make it disabled, because this is just a demo thing. And when I say server-side encryption, in the coming time, we'll see how to enable the encryption, how to enable key management system, which is created by me. Because there are two types of key options. One is you can go with Amazon oriented key, and second is key created by its customer. So I'm just disabling it for a moment of time. Access policy. Who can access your queue? Who can write data to your queue? Who can send data? Who can receive messages from the queue? At this moment of time, just to explain you, I'm saying only the queue owner. But when you have the scenario where other AWS account wants to send data to your queue, you can do one thing. Go to only the specified AWS account and choose the option here. This is the account ID you need to enter, and from where you will take the account ID from this. This is my account ID of AWS account. You will say, this is my account ID and this is a user. You will say, okay. In that case, that particular user from another account, that IAM user can send data to this queue. But I'm saying for this demo, I'm saying only the queue owner is fine. And let's create a queue. We'll discuss this options one by one in the coming sessions, like retry policy, how to create a dead letter queue. But for this moment of time, let's create a queue.
Question. Can you go to the diagram again?
Sorry?
Can you go to the diagram again, which you were explaining earlier?
Yeah.
So you said like application. Application means the user is giving data to database, or how it works here?
That application can be any application like .NET or Java application, any type of client who's pushing the data.
Oh, but that .NET and all like that stays in local computer, or how it works?
It will be on server.
On server.
Yeah, in my case, I will be creating a .NET client in front of you, but that client code will be deployed on one of the server.
But that server is independent of AWS. It's some local.
Yes, that server you can treat it like EC2 machine.
AWS ka.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thanks.
No worries. Let's go to SQS. This is your queue created, Joy queue. Now I want to send data to this queue. Before sending any data, let me just create a simple Lambda function. Go to Lambda. And if you guys just think I'm going so fast, this will be the actual speed, because what I believe is industry is not expecting a very basic knowledge from you. So you have to create yourself with the right set of knowledge, which is advanced knowledge. So during this course, everything what we are doing, everything, whatever is mentioned in this document will be done practical. There will be 200 plus labs, whether you are going to work with virtual VPC, then creating endpoints, transit gateway, everything will be done practically, everything. So you can say like it will be 250 plus kind of labs they will be. Let's go with function name. I'm calling it read from SQS Joy. Any name you can give. I'm saying Python 3.9 and create a function. This is how you create a Lambda function in AWS. Now your Lambda function is almost ready. You can execute this Lambda function. When I say Lambda function, you can run your server side code. This is your code. You can run it. This is server side code. You can run, whether you want to work with Python, whether you want to work with Node, it gives you options, right? When you go to functions, create functions, it gives you these options. These are the languages supported. But I have created a Lambda function using Python. And what was the name I have given? Read from SQS Joy. Go to this. And what I want to do is whenever any record is coming to SQS, I want to be triggered, this Lambda to be triggered. How can I do that? Go to your Lambda function. Yeah, click on add trigger and click on select the source. What will be source? SQS, right? Whenever an item is coming to SQS, a Lambda should be triggered. I'm saying source as SQS. Multiple sources can be added. Alexa, Apache Kafka, API Gateway, CloudFront. Lambda has a very great support for other applications, other AWS set of services. But in my case, I'm saying any item is coming to SQS, let's call this Lambda function automatically. And it will ask you which queue, because it is possible that in my account, I have 50 queues or 60 queues, right? So it is asking which queue. I'm saying joy queue. Batch size is 10 is fine for me. Let's click on add. It is giving you error. The provided execution role does not have permissions to call receive message on SQS. Let's cancel it and go to configuration. Go to permissions. What it is saying to you, the role you have created for Lambda function, because I haven't created role this role, because by default, when you create a Lambda function, it's create a role for you. And that role doesn't have the permissions to read the data from SQS. That's the reason I'm saying, please add a policy for SQS to this role. SQS full access I'm giving. Perfect. Now you can go and just click on add trigger again and add a SQS. SQS, which is joy queue, 10 size, click on add. Done. Now every time you are pushing data to your queue, that Lambda will trigger. You want to test it? Yes, go to SQS, go to send and receive messages. Before doing this, let me just add a couple of line of code also. Go to assignments and go to the code snippet, read data from SQS, copy this code and paste in the Lambda function. And let's understand what I'm doing with this code. Simple 2 lines of code. Import JSON. Def Lambda handler is just a handler, Lambda handler you can say. Event, whatever is coming in event, that will be records. I'm saying go in for loop and read the data is coming in event records. Then just take a body of it. What I mean by body of it, when you go to SQS, every item you are sending and receiving, that will be treated as message body. Message body. And the same I'm saying in code, payload is my variable, record is my, just you can say iterator variable, and I want to read a body content from it and just print it. That's it. Simple thing. Deploy this function on Lambda. Deployed successfully. Now go back to SQS and send the record. Say this is test 1 and say send message. Done. Your message has been sent. Now how to see my Lambda is being triggered or not? Where to see? Go to CloudWatch. When I say CloudWatch, is a centralized service for logging. You can directly go to CloudWatch and look for logs. Or you can go from this screen also. Go to Lambda function, click on monitor and click on view logs in CloudWatch. From that screen, you will directly go to this Lambda logs. But I'm coming on CloudWatch. This is the interface and you can click on log groups. Then you can click on Lambda function, US Lambda function. What was that? Read data from SQS Joy. Click on it and go to log stream. Click on this and you will see your data is printed. This is test 1. Let me send you another data. Go to SQS say this is test2, send. Come back to your CloudWatch, refresh. You will see your data 2 also. Yeah, this is test 2. In the same way, if I see I want to send another message, test 3, yes. Now I can come to my Lambda roles, log groups, just refresh. You will be seeing this is test 3. Let's refresh again and test this test 3. Now, if you understand carefully from my diagram, what I did is SQS I have created, consumers I have created. In the place of database, I have created a Lambda function, but I haven't created a code for producer. Just I have tested it with the default feature which is given by AWS, send and receive message. But in the real-time applications, you are not going to use send and receive message which is just made by AWS to test this. Right, guys? So you will be writing your client, and client will be sending data to your queues. I want to take questions now. Any questions, guys?
This Lambda function you created, is it a consumer or it's a producer?
Guys, any questions till now?
No, Ritesh, it is good.
Okay.
We have to do practical things and then we'll see.
Yeah. Now let me send a data to this through a client. When I say client, I have that client ready with me in the .NET application. Push data to SQS. What I will be doing, I will be sending data now from my .NET client. How to do it? Let's go to my client. And if you're just feeling about this code, you will get it anywhere over the internet. I am using .NET code, but if you're working with Java, if you're working with other things, then you can easily get this code. What I am doing in this code, first let me explain you. This is a main method from starting. It will be called send message to you. When I say send message, this method will be called where you are creating a connection with AWS. I'm saying this is my access key, this is my secret key, and this is my queue URL. When I say queue URL, every time you are creating your queue, you will also get a URL. Go to your queue, and this is your URL that you have to copy, go to your function and replace it. You also need to replace security credentials. And then it will create a connection, it will send a data, and this is a message, send a message async, right? So it is same like send and receive message in the, but I'm doing this thing using the code itself, sending message. So let me retrieve the data, go to security credentials and take a username and password. Basically, I'm talking about access keys. Create new access key. I show it. Take this keys. This is my access key. And this is my secret access key. Just go to this and paste US East 1 because I'm working with which region as of now. Just close this data. I'm working with North Virginia, which is US East 1. In case you are working with Mumbai, in case you are working with Hyderabad region, then you will type AP South 1 and AP South 2 for Hyderabad, which is recently launched in India. So this is queue URL. This is fine. Let's have a connection now. Let me run this client. Now see if this value is being added to your Lambda function logs or not. Go to your Lambda function. Go to logs. Yeah, from app. This entry is made from your .NET application. Is it understood, guys? Any questions? Abhijit, Dennis, Subha, Somyajit. Abhijit, any questions you have?
So, yeah, one question. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Devinder, I can hear you.
So this secret and access key you have hard coded. Is it possible to read directly from the AWS?
Not possible to
some
read
API?
from AWS, but you can just keep this configuration in app configuration somewhere, or you can just, this is just for the demonstration purpose. I'm keeping it naked. So, but you can keep it in somewhere like app.configuration or give it in basically Azure Key Vault or another. So many sources are available where you can keep the storage.
So this is running locally on your system, and then you're sending a message through local, and then from SQS, the message has been read and it is going to logs.
Yes, right. Yes,
so
right.
can we so write this code inside a Lambda function, and through Lambda automatically it will start sending rather than local?
Yes, that is also fine. That can be this is a responsibility of producer. I have just made one of the .NET application for demo purpose, but you can create a Lambda function. You can, if you want to create an application which is hosted on EC2, that is also fine. If you want to do with the scripting, that is also fine. My point is here to convince is that SQS, you can send any data from any application, irrespective of, like, if you are saying, I want to work with Java, in that case, you can just look for AWS SQS code example. Then if you go to the AWS site for Java SDK, or you can just look for another examples, like I'm saying working, receiving and deleting queue. Then you will find all the examples here. Code is already available. Does it answer your question?
Yes.
You can use this coding. But language wise also they have given if I just go back and
what about, like, if there is let's say there is a database, I'm reading a data record from a database and sending to the SQS, but here it is a key value pair. So how I will parse, like, which column belongs to which column, and then I have to store into the database. So this flow, how would happen?
I'm not
Got my
getting your question. Can you come again?
Suppose there is a database, I'm reading a data record from the database and sending to the SQS, and so that it will be further consumed by some consumer and send it to the another database. Let's say MySQL to Redshift. So this message is basically key value form.
Yeah, that is what I have done in my Lambda function. If you see the code carefully, what I have done, I have just read the records and say body. If you want to just look for your record, in that case, you have to search with the name itself or body itself. In my case, I have given for recording event records. And then payload is equal to record body and print str payload.
So this entire record is a complete message.
This entire record is, I'm talking about, if you go to SQS, when you say send and receive message, I'm talking about this message. Anything you are passing in it, that will be retrieved in this code.
Yes, if it is a row, let's say some database records, not just simple message. So in that case, how we can parse it? Because here it is body, directly we are getting a body message. But if it is a multiple columns and data rows are there.
Yeah,
So
just
how-
imagine it is a multiple columns. Then you will use your Python code to search into that. Because it is a Python, right? Then you will be retrieving a record body. Then in the payload, you will be retrieving a result, whatever is actually needed for you. Using a substring method or something, you will be working on the Python code in that case.
So every time I need to hard code in that way, like, so is there any sequence maintained, like some column sequence order, like, because I have to code here according to the row, the alignment of the columns.
Yeah, you have to code according to row only, because that's how SQS is sending data to you. You have to first read the data in row, and then using row, you will be getting further retrievals. Like if you want to go with, let's say I'm sending this format. Let's say I'm sending table, and inside the table, I have multiple columns. And inside the columns, I have 2 columns. Like this. In that case, you need to first read the entire row. Let's say I'm saying first name. Like this. In that case, you need to first go through tables and column, then first name. Every single record, you have to parse it basically. Okay. Did you get it?
Yes, it is. It is a little bit cumbersome, like because we are not passing schema. Is it possible to pass schema also along with the data?
So schema, everything you are doing, that becomes a responsibility of your client to read. You will have to write a code of it. There's no direct example that I can share, but you have to write a code of it.
Because in like other system like Kafka, we have schema also, schema registry, where we can basically define schema, and while parsing we can just simply use a field name and it will have a corresponding data. But here it seems like we have to parse everything, each and every field, and if there is change in the upstream system, then I have to change in my downstream system also, otherwise it will fail.
Yes, right. Okay. Let's move to other part, because we are almost done with the SQS now. You can understand this example via recording again. But like I explained you, there are 2 solutions of this problem. One is you can use SQS. Second is you can also... There are one solutions to SQS. One solution is SNS you can also use. SNS I'm not going to cover in my demo as of now, but let me cover a scenario for Kinesis. When I say Kinesis is much powerful as compared to SQS. How to work with Kinesis? Go to Kinesis. Same example I will be covering here. I will be pushing record to Kinesis through the client, and then my Lambda function will get triggered. How to do this? Just go to your client and say, I want to work with Kinesis. Work with real-time streaming data. Just Kinesis data stream, and just give me an address. If you have any query regarding the course, I'm posting a number in the chat window. You can call Amit. Let's create a Kinesis data stream. When I say Kinesis data stream, you are collecting the streaming data with the data stream. So let's create a data stream. What name I want to give it? I'm saying stock data. stock data, and this asks you what data stream capacity you want to take, on demand or provision. When I say on demand, AWS will take care of your scaling part. You need more cases, then it will give you more sources. If you need less resources, it will give you less resources, automatically managed by AWS. But when you say I want to go with provisioned, and provision is equivalent to number which you are fixing it. Like you are saying, I would be needing 10 shards. I would be needing 10 shards. Basically, you can see the capacity of shards. 10 MB per second it can write, and 10,000, 20 MB per second it can read. That means 10,000 records you can write in 1 second if you're taking this capacity. If you are saying my data will be more, you can increase this number. But on which basis you can do it? Go to the shard estimator. That will define how much record you are going to write per second. In my case, I'm saying just I want to write 600 record per second. What will be the record size? I'm saying my size is 450 KB per item. In that case, how many consumers will be there? In my case, 5 consumers will be there. AWS is saying you need to go with 660 as a recommendation size on the shard part. Shard you have to get 660 if you're doing with provisioned. But if you want to give this responsibility to AWS, then just close it and say on demand. But I'm saying I want to go with provision, and the shard provides for the demo purpose only 1, which is allowing 1000 records per second. And create data stream. Here it is saying you the capacity mode is provisioned and it is editable after creation. Provision shards you are taking 1, it is editable after this. Data retention is 1 day, but you can edit it after that. Server-side encryption is disabled, but you can make it enabled after creation also. That is the thing. Create data stream. Now let's wait for it. It will be created in just few seconds. Just refresh. Yeah, this is active now. Now I want to push data to this Kinesis. And now I want to push data to Kinesis. But before pushing a data to Kinesis, let me write a Lambda function who will be reading a data and processing the records. Let me create a Lambda function, a fresh Lambda function. Like the way I have written for SQS, I will be quickly following the same steps. Create a function. My function name is read from Kinesis joy, which is Python 3.9, and create a function. When you create a function, by default, every time Lambda function create a default role for you, which has permission for executing a Lambda function. And because I am going to read a data from Kinesis also, I will be requiring access to Kinesis. In the last case, I was needing a permission to SQS, and now I need a permission to Kinesis. How can I do that? Just go to configuration. This is my permissions. Just open URL. And add a permission. By default, like I told you, there will be one permission, AWS Lambda basic execution role. Let me add a policy which says I want to read a data from Kinesis. Right? This is. I want to give full access, although read only would be fine, but just for the demonstration purpose, I'm giving you full access. Perfect. Now come to code and change the code of it. How you will be changing the code of it? Let me give you that code snippet also. In Kinesis data stream. Let me open this code, and this is a code. Short, same 5-6 lines of code, but I will be explaining you what I'm doing in that. This is my Lambda handler. I'm just saying printing the values. In the same way, get event records, and then say in the records I will get Kinesis data, every record. And then I'm saying print it as a base 64 decode, because by default, whatever data you are storing in Kinesis, that is being stored as a base 64 encoding format. And I'm saying, let's print the value using base 64 decode. Deploy this function. Your changes are successfully deployed. Yes. But let's connect this function to your source, which is Kinesis. How to do that? Add trigger. In the place of SQS, I will write now Kinesis. Which data stream? I have stock data stream. Consumer? No, it is optional. Batch size, I'm saying, let's make it 10. Starting position, I'm not going to work with timestamp, trim horizon. When I say timestamp, you want to process certain records after the timestamp. You can then choose the time and all. But I want every record as a latest record. And let's click on add. Done. Now you can give data to Kinesis. This is my data. You have to create your client basically. And that client, I'm not going to create in this time. I'm not going to create in .NET. Let's use one of the beautiful tool available. Let's just close the SQS also, this also. And let's go with Collab. When I say Collab, this is tool provided by Google, and where you can run your Python code. In my case also, I'm going to copy one piece of code which will push the data to my Kinesis data stream. Let me copy the code first, then we'll go line by one. Go to new notebook. And once you join the course, all this study material will be available on GitHub. We have the code snip ready for Docker, for KMS, for Terraform. Everything we will be doing in the same way using practicals. First step here is to install Boto3, this command. When I say pip install Boto3, what I am going to say, hey, Google, I'm going to work with Boto3, please install this command. Please install this Boto3 library. When you say press enter on this, it will start allocating a space to you. And you will be seeing this is created in Google Compute Engine. When I say Google Compute Engine is a part of Google Cloud. So it start installing Boto3 client on this machine. They will be giving a temporary machine to you. This is the RAM and hard disk. And they will start installing a software, this Boto3 client on that machine. So this is running. So let it be. Until the time, let me copy the code. This is the code I want to use. And just copy this code. And this is done. Successfully installed. And click on this. Close this window. And now give your code. Now use the same access key I have used in my previous program. Just copy latest keys. And this is my secret access key, copy. Done. Which is the region? Region is US East 1. Now understand this code, what I am doing. I'm just running one for loop from 0 to 100, less than 100. I'm just adding one by one item every time. And I'm saying, please get a random number. If random number is less than 0.01, then dump this data. And what this data, get data, go to this and get a random default value between a low value and the high value. So that means if data is less than 0.01, in that case, it will pass values as 100 and 120. And it will be picking one value between low value and high value. You can write your any example. This is just pushing the code to your Kinesis. And this is important. Client.put record. What is the stream name? in your case, you have a stream name with the name of stock data that you have to use. Copy this stock data and go to stream name and just paste this. Also this. That's it. Now what this code will do when I play execute, it will start pushing data to your Kinesis. And you have done the integration Kinesis and Lambda, and your Lambda function will call 100 times. Let's test this. Just it is pushing data. Done. Now go to your Lambda function, click on monitor and go to view logs in CloudWatch. Now see, this log stream is created. See, entire data is available now. Entire data is available. Although I have just used print data, but whether you want to store data in DynamoDB or you want to create in Redshift, whatever you want to do with this data, you can do it. But you can take this example, right? Every data I'm getting. Demo 16. Here I'm getting value as 19, 13, random values are coming, 12. Any questions, guys, on Kinesis?
But what's the difference between Kinesis and MSK?
Kinesis and?
MSK, Managed Service for Kafka. There is a MSK newly added service for Kafka, which is also very similar to Kinesis. So is there any difference in these two?
No code difference, because Kafka is something that doesn't have the integration with other set of services. But when I come to Kinesis, Kinesis also work with delivery streams. When I say delivery streams, once I click on this, you can say any data is coming to my Kinesis data stream. That data I want to store in S3 or DynamoDB or other systems. Once you click on create delivery stream, you will see a source here. Source is Kinesis data stream, and it has a beautiful destination support like OpenSearch service, Redshift, Amazon S3, Core Logics, Datalog is logging tool, Dynatrace, HTTP endpoint, MongoDB cloud. It has a very, very great support with them. You just need to create a connectivity and everything will be done automatically. That's the advanced feature of, I would say, Kinesis. Also, it has a great compatibility with the video streamings and all analytics platforms.
Okay.
Got it. Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Now let me go through the course of content that we are generally cover for in this batch. This will be the course of content. I have given you 2 examples, but let me introduce myself also. My name is Ritesh. If you're joining this session for a first moment of time, my name is Ritesh. I have a total of 12 years experience. On the AWS, I have 6 years experience, 2 years with Azure, and 1 year with Google Cloud. I am AWS Solution Architect certified. Also, I am GCP certified. And if I talk about my LinkedIn profile, you can check it over the LinkedIn also with the name of Ritesh. This is my profile link. I'm sending the profile link in the chat window as well. You can go through it also, but course we are going to cover in this. Let me just go through the content. Identity and access management, how to create a roles, how to create a least privilege IAM policy. All these things we will do a practical like we did for the SQS and Kinesis. Everything will be practical. There will be 9 to 10 labs in the IAM. Then we'll cover EC2, how to create EC2. This is basic thing. You can just expect same knowledge over the YouTube available easily. But I'm talking about this. VPC is very hard one of the app. VPC is AWS program. So you can expect a great practical on the virtual private network, how to create endpoints, how to create peering connections, how to create your network between multiple, if you want to do a connectivity between multiple VPCs, how to do that, what is transit gateway, what is two VPC together for inter-process communication, direct connect. We'll see all of the things in a practical manner. Then S3, how to create a policies, how to restore an EBS snapshot, how to host static website, create application rules, reduce storage cost, how to create automatic rules on the storage classes, that also see in action. API gateway, how to create API gateway, add a trigger to Lambda, how to keep a pass keys, pass API keys to the API gateway, how to give more security using Cognito. That also will be part of this. Then database services, how to create RDS. When I say RDS is equivalent to relational database service, which is MySQL, SQL, Postgres, that everything we will do a practical on this. And if you're looking for this entire sheet, I can share in the chat window. You can go through in detail. Then we'll cover elastic load balancer, auto scaling, Route 53, decouple applications like SQS we have covered today, Kinesis we have covered today. That also we'll see in action again, because this is I've just done for the demo purpose. Then AWS Glue, how to discover the results using Glue crawlers, querying data from Athena, transforming data with AWS Glue, Beanstalk, which is a platform as a service for you, where you will be deploying your change without any servers in place. So that will be kind of model we'll be working on. AWS Lambda, configure an ALB, how to create package layers, how to configure your Lambda function to access an EFS file system, how to package your Lambda code in a container image, how to create a Lambda function that imports CSV file to DynamoDB and S3 with Lambda. Then CloudFormation templates, how to create templates, how to create your resources with the help of CloudFormation. AWS monitoring, how to do basic monitoring, detail monitoring, where to see logs, how to create alarms, how to set up application, CloudTrail, how to do work with CloudWatch, RAM features, everything will be done practically. Guard duty inspector, key management system, secret manager, parameter store. Then we'll take one of the example on cloud migration also, how to do a migration using AWS. And also we'll talk on the database migration part. There will be two migration. One is VM migration, second is database migration we'll be discussing. DevOps on cloud, we'll be discussing on few of the systems like GitHub commands we are going to discuss. Terraform also we are going to do at least 5 to 6 assignments. Chef and Ansible 2 assignments. Then Docker, Kubernetes, real example of like ECS, EKS, ECR, everything we will do the practical of it. Let me know if any questions.
Regarding certification, like this course will be enough to clear a certification, like AWS Architect Professional.
Devinder, your voice is very low for me.
Okay, let me speak it up. I'm talking about the certification. AWS Solution Architect Professional, and then we have Associate. So this course is.
First we have an associate, then we have the professional. But if I talk about this course, after doing this course, and let me also tell you one thing. Let me give you more detail. This course will be having 50 hours. We have to spend on this. It would be 200 plus labs. And after that, you will be perfect for AWS solution architect, associate, plus professional level. It is on the professional level.
To
And
appear
the
for
trainings
professional,
will-
is it mandatory to complete associate level, or directly also we can go with
No,
professional?
directly you can go for that.
Okay.
It would be weekend classes. Timing we can decide together. Whosoever is going to join this, probably it would be 5:30 or 6 p.m. IST to 8 p.m. IST.
And there is one certification in AWS which is very specific to DevOps, AWS DevOps certified professional. So that will also can be completed if we go to this course.
Yes, you can complete it.
Okay.
But mainly I have targeted this course for the solution architect. Few of the topics that is required as a DevOps also that I have added, but this is what we are targeting for the solution architect, basically.
Understand. Okay.
So
Yes,
what is the prerequisite for this course? Like what we should know before joining this course?
prerequisite would be first, I would say dedication, which is missing nowadays. Second is, I would say discipline. This is basic thing.
I'm asking about like
As a
technical.
course, it will be good if you know a couple of basic things like Python. Basic knowledge would be very good. And if you know server scripting little bit, that would be good. Otherwise, I will be covering this for you, but it would be good if you know about it, or any programming language. When I say programming language, I'm not talking about big things here. I'm just talking about if-else statement, case statements, loops, function callings. That type of thing would be better if you know it.
Okay.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah. The thing is, I'm mainly from like management stuff, so I have to catch up with this. Yeah, that's fine.
I will try to cover the basics, but to be honest, basic you can do on your behalf also. What I am trying to deliver is main concept. Otherwise, if I start giving the basics, you will just complete the basics, and after 2 months you will say, "Hey Ritesh, we just got the basics."
No, I
And
got it.
yeah, this is what I don't want to do. That you can just come prepared with these things, basic things. I will give an example, references from where to read. I will be giving throughout the course. I will be giving to them. And also, I will be taking mock interviews. Because like I said, I am working in industry from last 12 years. I will be taking mock interviews, helps in certification. Plus, on the daily basis, we discuss interview questions. You can say interview preparation. Not specifically for you, but entire group. Like today we discussed about AWS EC2 and Lambda just for 2 minutes, but that's a long topic actually. That's a long topic. You can talk on multiple parameters that we are going to discuss every class. Whatever topic we are covering, we'll start digging in details like SQS versus Kinesis. It is a 1 hour topic if I start discussing internals of this.
So when is the actual batch starting?
We are starting from tomorrow.
Okay.
There is no job guarantee we are giving. It's assistance only. And don't look for job guarantee. Nobody will go give a job guarantee. It's just a false promise everyone is doing. On our level, if you are experienced 5 to 6 years experience or 4 years experience, don't look for job guarantee. Just focus on your content. I am there for you for next 3 months. I'm damn sure you will clear the interview if you are doing all these practicals with me. All this you have to do it. If I'm giving 2 hours over the weekend, you have to give 4 hours over the weekdays. That's how you need to run for next 3 months. Then I'm 100% sure you will clear every interview of AWS. This is not just a basic thing, guys. Whatever I have mentioned, if you just compare this course of content with anything, you will see tons of practicals are involved. Nobody is giving this tons of practicals. Just don't look for job promises and all. Look for knowledge first, then everything will come to you automatically. Any more questions, guys?
Sir, how much we need to pay for this course? Is this any premium?
Yeah, for this you can contact to Amit. I already told you that. Please ping him over the WhatsApp or just call him. And also, if somebody from you is looking for a one-on-one discussion before joining a course, you can call Amit and he will redirect that call to me also. You can directly talk to me. If you have any confusion, anything in your mind before joining a session, just do discuss with me.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions, guys? Ayo, Bharat, HP, Manu, Naveen, Pramal, Rav, Samit. Any questions or we are good for today?
So this is the weekend batch means Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yes, right.
And 50 hours means you are covering in 1 day 3 hours to 6 means 10
In 1 day 2 hours. It would be approx taking 2.5 months.
to 2.5.
So Monday to Friday, batch is available or not?
Monday to Friday, I will give you assignments that you have to work on assignments, and for 2 days, I will be giving content to cover. Like I will be teaching on Saturday and Sunday only. Then you over the weekdays, you have to work on assignments. Let me also share slides in this same chat window. Let me share the downloads. I've shared.
Sir, weekend batch course duration is 2 months.
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of background noise from your side. Bharat, is it you?
Yes. Weekend
Yes.
batches, courses duration is 2 months or 3 months?
No, I'm not able to hear you. Background noise is very high. You can call on this number. If you have any queries, you can call on this number.
Yes.
If no more questions, we are good for today. Thank you guys for joining the session. Yeah, recordings will be shared. Any questions, guys, from anyone? I have already shared a slide with everyone. You can just go through the course of content. Yes, Shrikant.
So we need a AWS account for this.
Yeah, you will be using your free account. I will be helping you on creating free account.
Okay, then what are the prerequisites for doing this? More equipments, more than 8.
You just need a debit card or any credit card that will work for you. Creating a free account.
Okay.
Any more questions, guys? Let's call it a day and see you tomorrow, guys. Bye. Take care.